Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and children of all ages, from Eric Lima Shenanigans of 1977, it's time for the PLE Event Center, where our host talks about the results from a WWE PLE event. And now here's the man to bring you all the results from the PLE event himself, Eric M. Lima.
Thank you very much, Mr. Announcer, sir. Well, hello there, everyone. Welcome to yet another episode of Eric Lima Shenanigans, 1977, episode 2567 of the show. We're going to talk about NXT No Mercy. That's right. And there's some big things coming out of No Mercy. Big things are happening. And if you think that the TNA NXT relationship is not working, you better guess again, because it's working. They're getting big things happening here on NXT. I mean, very big things, folks. And I mean, a lot of things happening. Let's talk about NXT No Mercy. Javon Evans and Josh Briggs kicked it off. Kicked the show off. Heck of a matchup between these two. And did you know Javon Evans? He's going to be a very busy boy. He's been a busy boy this weekend. This past Friday night on SmackDown, he challenged Sami Zayn for the United States title. In fact, and it's already Sunday, folks. It's the 28th of Sunday, Sunday morning, 12:04 a.m. And the big to do is that Javon Evans did challenge Sami Zayn. Came up with the short end of the stick, though. But, however, in the end, Javon Evans won this matchup, though, over Josh Briggs. So, we shall see what will develop now with Javon Evans getting Briggs out of the way. Kaylani Jordan addresses being the new TNA Knockout Champion because this past Friday night, Victory Road, she was the only lone NXT representative in the Women's Battle Royal. Here's what happened. Ash by Elegance, formerly known as Dana Brooke, who was Kaylani Jordan's mentor, by the way, during Dana Brooke's final days on NXT. Ash by Elegance came out, and she was the current TNA Knockouts champion. But what happened was she had to relinquish the title. Something, since life threw her a curveball. I don't know what kind of life curveball that's been thrown at. I'm sure when the time is right for her, she will explain what happened. Because she hasn't said a word, she hasn't said anything. She said, unfortunately, I had to give up I had to relinquish the title. And she worked so hard for it, too, you know. When the WWE released her, she went in TNA, and it took her about a year and a half to get the title, and now she has to relinquish it, and I kind of feel bad. And so that prompted Santino Marella to make a quick decision, say, hey, this is a pay-per-view. What we're going to do is we're moving the Knockouts Tag Team titles match to Thursday on Impact and get this Battle Royal. And they're treating like when the Intercontinental, and Shawn Michaels was stripped of the Intercontinental title back in 1993. They decided to make a Battle Royal. The two remaining wrestlers would go at it the following week for the Intercontinental title. But this is a different situation. Knockouts Battle Royal, two remaining wrestlers and two remaining knockouts will go one-on-one later on on the pay-per-view for the championship, with Indy Hartwell being special guest referee. Well, they had the Battle Royal, Kaylani Jordan and Lei Lee won. They had the matchup. Kaylani Jordan's the new TNA Knockouts champion. And we'll see what happens now. Because now, once again, with Kaylani Jordan representing NXT, both the men's and women's world titles are now in NXT hands again. Well, so she says she'll represent both companies with pride and honor, which I know she will. Then the women's speed title is on the line. Now, I've got here's the 411. Lainey Reed was not medically cleared to compete because she got injured during training. So Ruka had to defend the title against another competitor. And This time around, the regular speed match will be 3 minutes, while the title match is 5 minutes. So, Jada Parker was the one that accepted the challenge, which makes a lot of sense because she's been working very hard and getting wins and all that, and she deserves a title shot. And then Last Legend and Zarya got involved. In fact, Jada Parker was distracted by Zarya. Last Legend was right behind us talking smack, and then when Zarya went to go spear Jada Parker, she moved out of the way and hit Last Legend. But that gave Soruka the opportunity, hit the Snow Snatcher, 1, 2, 3. Soruka is still your women's speed champion. Then Joe Hendry was interviewed by Kelly Kincaid, and Dark State interrupts Joe Hendry. Now, then it was a weaponized steel cage matchup. Jordan Grace versus Blake Monroe. I keep forgetting to write down who won that matchup. And it seems like... And Jordan Grace did end up winning that matchup after having everything pink weapons, including kendo sticks and baseball bats. In the end, Jordan Grace did win the matchup. Ava addresses the NXT TNA Brawl. So, and she and Santino sat down, had a meeting, and they decided to have NXT Invasion October the 7th. That means, and in fact, the event will include 2 Survivor Series style matches, one for the men and one for the women. And Santino and Ava will get together next week, this coming Tuesday on NXT to name those teams. And also a title for title match will be happening. Dark State will defend the NXT titles against the Hardys, who will be defending their TNA titles. Winning team will walk away with both belts, winner take all. So if I were the Hardys, I would call Team 3D and say, hey, we got. So this is going to be interesting for sure. And so Last Legend addresses Jada Parker and addresses TNA and Zarya. And then Jada Parker attacked Last Legend back, and security had to break it up. Then Kelly Kincaid interviewed Laney Reed, and she said that when she comes back, she'll become a champion. And Lola Vice said, sorry you got injured, but, And then Laney Reed says, well, JC Jane will keep her title. You better watch it, so. And the North American title was on the line. Ethan Page versus Tavion Heights. And Ethan Page ended up retaining the title. Then El Hijo del Blackner Jr. Addresses Page after the matchup, challenging him to a title match. Who knows what's going to happen there. Kelly Kincaid interviewed Miles Bourne, and Miles Bourne was talking about the invasion. He wanted to be part of it as well. Mike Santana then addresses NXT and Trick Williams. As you know, Mike Santana will have his title shot at Trick Williams at Bound for Glory. Then the women's title was on the line. JC Jane defends against Lola Vice. And remember, NXT is taking place in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, near Lola Vice's hometown, Miami. Her family was there. Fallon Henley gets involved during the match, and she gets ejected, but then a masked person came out during the matchup attacking Lola Vice. We don't know who it was. Now, it could be a new member of the Fatal Influence. We'll find out for sure. I'm sure Lola Vice is going to... I'm sure Ava's got to see that, and Lola Vice has got something to say about that. So, we shall see what happens there. But, because of that masked person, JC Jane ended up winning the matchup and retaining the title. Then Moose addresses the NXT invasion, says he's going to be there next week. So a lot of TNA wrestlers saying they're going to be there next week to possibly talk with Santino there. It's open door. The NXT title on the line. Obafemi, who has been holding the title for 263 days, defends it against Ricky Saints. And this was a heck of a matchup between both individuals. No TNA invasion, nothing in the store happened, but ladies and gentlemen, we have a brand new NXT heavyweight champion, and that is Ricky Saints. That's right, Ricky Saints. Because I knew he was going to win. I had a feeling, because I think Obafemi is going to be called to the main roster with Roman Reigns doing the movies and all that. They're going to need a man who can be a dominant force, and a lot of people want to see Rusev versus Obafemi again, so that could be a matchup worth having. As Rusev will be challenging Dominic Mysterio for the Intercontinental title this coming Monday night on Raw. And if Rusev wins and he wants to issue an open challenge, Obafemi could be the guy to do it. But also, Sami Zayn's been doing open challenges too. So, Obafemi could accept that challenge. Who knows? This might mean that Obafemi could be called up to the main on Raw or SmackDown. We'll find out in the future. We'll find out for sure on that. And that is it for this episode of Eric Lima Shenanigans 1977, episode 2567 of the show. On the next episode, we're going to talk about AEW Collision that happened last night. So, thank you very much for tuning in, and I will see you on the next episode of the show. And until that happens, until that next episode comes rolling around, Mr. Announcer, take us home.
That is all for today's episode of the show. This is Mr. Announcer speaking for Eric Lima Shenanigans of 1977. A Big Beefy E and do it for Bob Saget production, and in association with a Raving Bull for 3000 Telepictures and Distribution. Thank you for watching another episode of Eric Lima Shenanigans of 1977. See you later on the next episode of the show. Goodbye for now.